Hello, this is a short video on propensity score matching using panel data, and here the software that we use is Stata, and specifically we use the Gmatch user written package that is available in Stata. So first let's understand the data a bit. So if we see, so this is a panel data. So this GV key is basically the firm ID and F here is the time dimension. So this data is downloaded from CompuStat database. Now what we are trying to do is that first we will try to run a logistic regression to estimate the probability based upon certain form characteristics. Now this is the treatment variable over here. So this treatment is basically in this context whether the firm has a CSR score or not. So first we want to check whether there are any missing values or not. So this is the treatment variable. Then we have some other X variables, that is return on assets, return on equity, and asset turnover leverage. So we basically check that whether there are any missing values first. So there are no missing values as I already deleted it earlier. And then we want to look at the treatment, how many observations we have. We have 2342 for treatment, and for the counterfactuals we have non-treated 8769. So then we run a simple logistic regression. So using treatment as the dependent variable and the other X variables in order to estimate the likelihood of being treated. So once I run this regression, you can see over here, because of whatever reason, so the likelihood function is not converging, so I just stop it, and then I make the iterate 100 just to save time. I don't know when it is going to finish. So once I run it, it should spit out the result pretty quick. So now we got the logistic estimates. So now we predict the probability using the regression that we just did. So P score is already defined. Okay, I tried it earlier. I need to drop a few things. Drop set industry year P score to ID match up. All right. So let's try it out again. So okay, we estimated the probability. Now since it is a panel data, we want the matches to be industry and year specific. So for that reason, what we were doing over here is that for a given industry, for a given year, we are trying to create a unique value. Okay, so this has created that. Let's see how it looks like. So basically, as you can see over here, so these are the estimated probabilities which we named just P score, and these are the industrial classification. SIC code is basically the industry classification, and then we have the industry year as a specific ID. So that means for this year 2010, and the industry code 2111, so this code is 324, and this should be same for the same industry and the same year, firms in the same industry in a given year. All right, and then we sort the firms by ID and the year, and then let's look at it again. Hopefully we can see it now. So for this, it is 324 2010. Okay, there is only one firm in this particular industry. So let's go to the next industry, 3411. Can we see any more? If we sort by sort by SIC and year. Oh, sorry, this is going to be F year. Okay, now if you run this, so now this is the, for 2010 the code is 1 over here. For this industry, SIC code is 100. So for the next one, if you see, for 2010, this is a different firm, but the same SIC code. You can see all have been assigned a code of 1. So this basically is a industry and year specific code ID. Now, now we are generating. Now over here, if you see, although it's a panel data, but we have not used XT to run the regression and to estimate the predicted probabilities. The reason being the firm level heterogeneity and the differences that arise in the panel data because of different time period observations, those things are going to be taken care of when we are doing to match the treated firms with the counterfactuals based upon their probabilities or likelihood of receiving treatment. So that is the reason we are not using xtlogit command over here. And also we are going to, when we are going to do the propensity scoring, we are going to take this industry and the firm ID that we created, this group ID for industry and firm together. We are going to match based upon this. So now what we are doing over here, now generating P score 2. So first we sort by industry year, let's say, and then now we are generating P score 2, which is equal to industry year times 1000 plus P score if P score is not missing. So what is happening over here is that the P score 2 is effectively a constant. This is a constant for a given industry, for given year, for all the firms, plus the probability score P score that we estimated earlier using the regression. So this part is effectively a constant. So what is varying is just this part. So when you are going to do the matching, basically the constant remains same in a given year for given industry, whereas this part can vary across firms. Okay, so we are basically, when we run this command, what we see over here is that we get a P score. Okay, we get a P score with the same SIC for a given year. Okay, so what you can see over here, all have 1000 plus some probability numbers which come from here. So this 1000 basically takes into consideration the year and industry effect. Basically it creates unique value for a given industry in a given year. All right, so when we are doing the matching, basically, so that is how we are taking care that a treated firm in a given industry in a given year is matched with the counterfactual from the same industry in the same year. Okay, we'll see just a little later. So this is the idea basically. Now next, so this is not important. Now we need to install the Gmatch package first. Okay, so in order to install the Gmatch package, over here you can get health resources. No, sorry, I did help. Yeah, search net resources. Sorry, Gmatch, and if you open it, so this is the one. So you need to click here to install. Okay, so I have already installed, so I'm not doing it again. So after you install it, and if you run the Gmatch, this Gmatch command, okay, so basically we are using over here the treatment variable, and then we are using the P score 2. And just to remind you that P score 2 basically includes industry and firm specific information. Okay, and then we are specifying some additional criteria. In our case it is very simple, so it's a caliper of 0.1. so basically it's kind of a radius matching, where it is going to take plus minus 0.1 and going to match with the best possible match. So what this gmatch command does is that although let's say within plus minus 0.1 there might be numerous options available, but this command will pick up the best one, the best match. Okay, and the default is basically one match. That means for every treated form there will be only one non-treated. So let's run this command and it will take a little while. So they're asking few things. Don't send it now. The variable diff already exists. Okay, let's see, drop diff. Okay, so let's run it again. All right, now sometimes what may happen is that once you run this command, what will happen, it will give you an error. So command isvar is unrecognized. So in that particular case, you need to just install this package, isvar package. You need to go to the help section, search for isvar, and you need to install it. And then you need to run this command again. Now, once you run this command, it creates two variables. One is called set, another is difference. Okay. Now the set basically helps us to identify when the match is created, which one is the treated and which one is untreated, or the counterfactual. If you want to get more details on the gmatch package, you can follow this link, or you can see the help of the gmatch package and you can understand what's going on. Now I'm well aware that there are few other like Stata packages like pscore, psmash2, which are also used for matching. Now specifically I have heard that in psmash2 sometimes the matches are not one-to-one or unique pairs. So specifically when we are dealing with panel data, it sometimes gives problem. But I think this Gmatch is pretty good, to be honest. And yeah, it does the job. And once it is done, then I'm going to show you like how to just run a regression basically using the matched data set. Taking a little longer than expected. So just to give you some heads up on the computation time, so I was working on a database of some 5 million observations, and this gmatch command took about 3 days to do the calculations. So if you're working on a big database, a very large panel, then you might want to like use a computer which you can leave for 2-3 days just to exclusively run this command, and it's very memory intensive as well. All right, come on. It is taking slightly longer than expected. So once this is done, what we will do is that if we browse and we see the data, so what we can see is that this set variable will contain the set variable will be generated, which is effectively a dummy variable 0 and 1, and it will tell us about which two observations form a match. Now after this we run the regression. Let's say any kind of regression, whatever it is. Here is a simple regression. So y basically will be the outcome variable, and then we have the x variables, and you see that we are not using the xtreg over here, xtreg. So we are just using a simple regression. Now the reason being, because we have matched the treated group with the counterfactuals, which differ only in terms of whether they receive the treatment or not. So that is why, and also like we did when we did the matching, we took care of the industry and the year as well. So that is why the variability that would have been there because of variation in the industry and the forms and the year are not there anymore. So that is why we just run a simple regression. So we don't need to use the panel regression suites of commands. Come on. It was a bit quick earlier. Okay, let's wait for a while. So here you can see the caliper. This you can make it 0.2, 0.3 based upon what you believe. But then it should not make much difference because it is just going to pick up the best match. So okay, it's done now. Let's have a look. So if we just run this, have a look what it has done. So you can see this set variable is created over here. So what we can see over here, these two observations, these two forms, 286451297968, they both are in 2010. They both are in the same industry. Okay, and basically the group that we created, the group variable is over here, and you can see like their p score 2 are very close. This one received the treatment, the one with the ID 451 ending 451, and the next one didn't receive, and together they form one pair. Okay, this one pair of form. So similarly, like if you want to know, like let's say sort by set, and then if we browse, so we can see how many sets are there. So yeah, so you can see like these two forms make another set, these two make another set. So yeah, so one has received the treatment, another one have not received the treatment. Now when you run the regression, basically you need to, like for every treated, if you want to have one counterfactual, you can have actually more than one as well, but one is enough, I guess. So you just run a simple regression where you specify this set is not missing. That's it. So this is all about like how you can do propensity score matching using your panel data. So just to give you a brief update, let's just sum it up. So first you need to understand which one is the ID variable, which one is the time variable, and then you basically you have the treatment variable and the some x variables which you are going to use in order to predict the probability of receiving the treatment. Then you run the whatever logit or probit regression that you think works for you. Then you predict the probability. Then you create a kind of a group variable based upon the year and industry, and after that you create second p score. Okay, here we call it p score 2, which is basically adding a constant that is specific to year and industry plus the probability that we estimated earlier. And then you use the gmatch package and run this command, gmatch treatment p score 2, There are some other options as well which you can specify. Just look at the manual for the help. And then after the matching, you get to see that there's a set variable created which effectively tells us which two observations form a pair basically, and then you run your regression. I hope it's helpful. Thank you. All the best.